just literally do anything, because if you don't know what to do, figure out anything to do. So real quick to show this, today's homework's 10.1.4. I have 10.1.5 back from the copy center if you want the next one to like over the weekend or whatever, and we don't have class tomorrow. All right, so there's the answers real quick for anyone playing along at home. But so we got a hexagon. So what we were starting to do yesterday is draw these lines, and I'm actually going to do this with a pencil probably. Ooh, wait. Now, how and why do you say that they're equilateral? We said this at the end of class yesterday, but some of us had sort of lost focus.
It's because like the inside, isn't it like 360? So that if you divide that by, what is it? 3, then you would get
6.
Then you would get 12. So that means that 2 boxes is 120. And if you divide that again by 2, you get that 1 point is equal to 60. So then like that's 60.
60 degrees.
And then the top thing would be like in the upper like left corner. That would be like 120. And if you divide that by 2, then you get that half of it is again 60. And then
Now, how did we figure out that this was 120?
well, what I do is if you like pretend.
Hold up. Sorry, so one person at a time. So Anna, go ahead. I don't know if you'll remember what we did at the end of class, because I think you were like trying to light me on fire for how messy I had been. You were sending me a really angry look by the end of class yesterday. I don't care. It's funny. Like, it's funny, Anna. It's fine. We had said a triangle. What? Who remembers what we said yesterday?
Oh, a triangle has...
Do you remember how many degrees does a triangle have, Jake?
Oh, 180.
180. How many degrees does a quadrilateral, like a square or a rectangle? 360. And we started to say, well, if this pattern holds true, a pentagon would have 540, and a hexagon would have 720 interior degree measures. And since I use a shapes template to draw this, and I could, as some people say, like, oh, we've got tools to measure this, and I'm always like, who uses tools? But like, we could measure, and yeah, it looks like it's probably a 120 degree angle, or 60 degrees, depending on which way I go, right? The fun thing about the protractor is we've got these 2 sets of numbers. So if I come up here, it's 120, but if I had come from the other way, which what that means is this outside angle, right? This outside angle is 60 degrees. This inside angle is 120, which means one of the pieces of the inside angle is also 60. And then because y'all are smart, you said, well, then we know the other angle has to be 60. Max, you with me? I know we're in the weeds. I just want to make sure we're staring at the cabinets and stuff. So these are equilateral triangles. Is anyone confused about why these are equilateral triangles? And then at the end of our lesson yesterday, all we really knew was...
all the corners are 60.
I jumped back all these resource pages to find... We knew it had an area of 128. And now in our problem, it's the same sort of thing.
You know the area has 62.
Except now our base area is 62.
Well, what we can do now is if we put 62 in this.
So what did we call the base area? What's its nickname? Big B. You gotta say it with emphasis.
How do you find the big B? I forget.
They told us the big B. So we'll figure out how to find the big B here later. But, so wait, do I even need to solve out like how this happens to figure out the volume of the... Oh yeah, because this just wants volume. And we said volume is what formula for a prism? Base? Big B times height. And what is the height actually?
12.
Well, remember we said height is not always, it doesn't always look like height.
12 inches.
The height is the the distance between the bases.
Big B's.
Right? So
Not
remember,
the big
height
B's.
is distance between the bases.
Not
so
the base, it's the big B's.
They give us prism height. Thank you. They give us prism height of 12. So we know the big B is 62. Ooh, careful. You said the J word. Who, what? I know, but I try to catch myself. I'm still progressing at filtering myself. All right, so then 62 times 12, I think that's probably how we get to the first answer they have.
That's 7.2.
744 inches cubed because it's volume.
So I wrote down cube, but I said square. Same.
So then what they ask us, would the volume be different if the base were a pentagon with a base area of 62 inches squared? Anna?
Yeah.
So I said no because as long as the bases and the heights are equal, the shape's volumes will also be equal.
Does this big B care what shape it is?
No.
No. This didn't say big B of pentagon or of hexagon. Just said big B. And we said the formula that always works is big B times the height, which is the distance between them. So actually, we're going to come back to how we subdivide a hexagon and how we can figure out the area of that. Because that's not really 8th grade content. We'll probably do it next week before the test. But today I want to push us to an even further point of difficulty. We definitely can. I keep jumping to that when I really mean to jump to the answers. So for the problems that you have been able to get done, because this is not due, no, this one is due today. Guys, I'm super behind on grading. So quite frankly, if you don't turn this in today, I'm not that concerned about it. I have put these assignments in math, but I'm nowhere close to grading. Like, I got to grade your Chapter 9 masteries. I care more about that than the Chapter 10 homework. So if you need over the weekend to get these done, it's okay. It's been a testing week. I know Monday was chaotic because we had no internet. Yeah, that was fun. We had no internet for like 4 hours. Yeah.
Does that apply to the next
That was very sad.
Yeah, like 3 and 4. I definitely couldn't collect 3 and 4 until next week because we got skits tomorrow. So a reminder, no math class tomorrow, no new homework tomorrow. If you want to take 10-1-5, you can. There's zero reason to unless you just feel bored.
I
always feel bored.
You what?
I have math class at zero.
Which reminds me, I need to plan what we do. What do you guys want to do in FCO tomorrow?
So you want to just pass those out?
Just grab the whole stack and pass them out.
Circle line.
Are you getting 1-5 or 1-4? Good, because I haven't put 1-5 over there on purpose.
You have to finish your stuff.
You have to finish your what?
You have to finish the stuff you started.
The stuff. What stuff?
That was everything.
Oh, that you did with Mr. Guy? Sure. Mr. Liefeld. Liefeld?
That was going to be my second guess.
There's no H in his name, but when he says it, it sounds like there is. All right, other questions from 10-1-2 homework? Lily?
Yes. Roll down, mister.
Wait, how did I see, please?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you because Jake.
29C.
29C. These questions are still tripping some of us up as we try to revise our Chapter 9. So this, all of you should pay attention because like half of us were still making these mistakes on the mastery. Patrick, can you stop? Because I can't focus. It's not a you thing, it's a me thing, but could you please? The helicopter's too distracting. I didn't mean like don't get up. You're just helicoptering and I just cannot focus. X to the negative third really means divide by x 3 times. So if you need to remind yourself that a negative tells us to divide, make a note. Right? Write it down so it actually retains. That's divide, not multiply. Because it's the opposite of multiplication.
Divide by what?
By the base. So here, the x gets divided 3. So guys, if I ignore the second part of the problem, the first part of the problem is actually 8 over x to the third. Because the negative 3 says divide by x 3 times. But then the second part of the problem, 8x squared, squares both the 8 and the x, right? This distributes. So I'm going to have 8 to the second power x to the second power, and both of those are still in our numerator because they're multiplying, not dividing.
So over 1.
So over 1. So really, when I put this together, I have 8 to the third x to the second over x to the third.
So it's 8 to the third over x.
So yeah, x squared will cancel out 2 of these, and this will become 8 to the third over x. And then what's 8 to the third if we want to simplify that? 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 8? Is it 512? Yeah? 512. I mean, 64 times 8, I bet you guys could do because you could double, double, double. I could go for a double right now.
Double shape.
Double stack, man. Give me a
Double
burger.
stack burger.
Give me a double, double.
Oh, I want a triple, 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 triple.
Give me a triple, triple.
I want a triple, 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 triple. Hamburger. Triple cheeseburger.
So, now I don't, okay, this is going to be like, gosh, I'm a bad teacher. This is going to be like when I told you guys about the Jupiter and the pennies thing or whatever it was. There was a meme that I don't know if it's true, and I kind of want us to calculate, like we might do this next week. But we're not doing it today. I'm just going to throw it to you for those of you that are like giant nerds that want to think about these things. What?
You introduced it and then told us we're not going to do it today.
Fine, I won't introduce it.
No!
Okay, so this meme said if the whole world were to compete, because March Madness right now, right? So if the whole world were to compete in a bracket tournament where it's like one-on-one, that you would actually only have to win 33 different like competitions to be the victor of the world. Which seems way too small. But like, think of it, that means that the bracket would have like 33 layers going in. So like, if you're into basketball, March Madness started with how many teams?
64.
64. And so 64 teams in one round become 32. And in 2 rounds becomes 16. And in 3 rounds becomes 8. In 4 rounds becomes 4. In 5 rounds becomes just 2. So it only takes 6 rounds for those 64 teams to so that's kind of where this idea is. We're not solving that today because I have other difficult maths for us to solve. But you can think about it. Yeah.
7.2 million times.
Well, we're not solving that today. Questions from the homework.
Can I have more time?
Yes.
Can I have more time to do this?
Sure.
How do you figure out the
I said
base?
that at the beginning. What do you mean? Because we don't have to in this homework. You don't have to figure out the big B. They gave it to you.
No, on 26. 1026.
Dude, we know how to find the big B when it's a circle. Circle, pi r squared. Circle area is pi r squared. So for those cylinders, you know what you're doing.
Find the area. Oh.
Yeah. And actually, dude, that's on your homework.
Yes, I
It's
tried.
up here.
I tried to look through it. Right.
And actually, yesterday, what we also wrote up here was big B equals r squared times pi. I think we wrote this all down yesterday.
I did. It's just,
You just wanted to ask just to have a chance to talk with me.
I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so Chelsea, love Chelsea, but Chelsea again wants to give me a project for the summer.
Wow.
And guys, this is nothing new. It's every summer's a project. So Chelsea has decided that since us getting a hot tub didn't quite work out, she's going to take it to the next level, and we're going to get a pool. Now, quite
Wait,
frankly,
you got a hot tub?
no, it didn't work. She wanted us to get a hot tub. It didn't quite work out.
Wait, why didn't it work out?
Long story.
I want to hear it.
I don't care. Sorry. So, Chelsea wants us to install a pool, right? So most pools are either like rectangular in shape or somewhat rounded in shape. So this pool that we're looking at is rounded. And because I'm a mathematician and also I used to skate, I want our pool to be a half pipe, which if you want to be technical, there are vert ramps. Anyone in here skateboarders or roller skate? So like if you drain the pool, you can skate it, right? And this is a thing out in California. But so technically a half pipe is take a pipe, cut it in half. A vert ramp ends up going completely vertical. So this is the difference on the two different things that like skaters could skate. A half pipe is literally take a pipe, cut it in half, which is what our pool is going to do. Our pool is effectively going to be a half pipe, and then on the ends, we'll have spherical ends. So like the half pipe, except then plop a sphere on the end, cut that in half. Sure. Yeah. So I in the past people have said, oh, it looks like the Mario bullet thing, right? Like the Mario. Yes. You're missing us talking about the Mario bullet. So the Mario, the big yeah. I forget names. I'm old. My brain doesn't work very good.
Why did you want
No, you
to shadow
shouldn't.
that?
Wait, is the Bullet Bill Big B? The old Mario.
I played it.
You should have known that because it's from the old Mario.
No, it's not.
That
It's
doesn't
an
make me
8.
Right? Like wow, a little bit of shade.
It's in all.
All right. So Anna doesn't get so mad today.
I played it.
What?
Have you played the original Mario?
Have I played the original?
Okay.
Have I
So-
been here? 64 version?
I haven't.
Yes.
No,
I have.
S. No,
I have-
NES or SNES. That's
I have an NES.
like my brother still has an NES and an SNES.
I played it.
All right, so
I have
a lot of
no
S's.
idea what still
My
happens.
dad collects games.
I have no
I got my sphere full of water. Right now, my question for you is how in the world, right, Grant? How in the world could we figure out the volume when this whole thing is rounded? Like we talked about the dump it to the measuring cup.
Yeah.
So we talked about the cylinder, and yesterday, and Miss Hunter doesn't know this. So how's a cone relate to a cylinder?
It's third.
It's a third, right, or times 3, right, depending which way we want to go. So if I what do you guys think the sphere?
It's gonna take a while.
Alright, I'm gonna go get
No,
some.
that's not gonna help.
You just
No,
have-
it'll get the bubbles.
Play the Jeopardy music.
Let's talk about Mario while we wait.
It's 2/3. It's 2/3. Hey, Mr. Rotten. 2/3. 2/3.
Hey.
Now wait,
That's half.
what would have to be true for us to be able to use this as a good reference, Brenda?
What if you put the water into the
Well, no, you said a what if. No, but I asked a question of what needs to be true for this to relate to this.
putting the water into a triangle to see how many thirds.
There's no triangle.
What? Or here. Will you?
So yeah, so like my diameter of this sphere and my diameter of this cylinder would have to be pretty much the same. So essentially what we're saying is this needs to perfectly fit. No extra space, right? But so I think which is bigger, the cylinder or the sphere? Okay. So I want you guys to take some time, and you can play with this on your paper if you want to try to do some calculations with that. How the heck do we figure out this volume formula?
Good question.
Go for it. I'm going to give you at least 5 minutes, so I'm going to flip the timer. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Dyson Sphere?
The what?
Dyson Sphere.
Oh, the vacuum? I thought you just said the Dyson sphere, which I assume you meant the Dyson ball. I do not know what you're talking about. How do you what? I do not know what you're talking about. This is probably something complicated. You'll have to take time to explain more. Yeah, so from there to there's 20 feet. The whole thing across the pool is 40 feet. The radius, it looks like it's 90 feet. That doesn't make sense because this would be the diameter. Right? Across there. The ends are semicircles or what could I say? Semi-sphere? Is that right for the end of it? Each end is a half.
That's a quarter. It's a quarter.
Oh, it's a quarter sphere. or sphere?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's be trying to do some math.
400.
Oh, yeah. Like a bill. Oh, yeah. It's half as your I know it's
Focus, please.
Trying to figure out how to figure out circumference. No, it's
Pi times diameter, or pi times 2 times the radius, because that's the same thing. Okay. Big brains. It is not. Now, hierarchy is in play. I don't know. Yeah. Well, if we're thinking about the sphere, what would be the height of the sphere? The same as the diameter. And then if this is, now that it's full, this is very difficult. If this is the same, right? If we said that there's no gap space, then the height of this cylinder is the same as the diameter of the sphere. So the diameter across here is equal to the height here. So we're saying height is equal to diameter. So to make a sphere, right, if a sphere perfectly fits in the cylinder, then it's going to be I knew that was going to happen. It's supposed, like, that's on purpose. Right? Until I dump things on the table. So the cone was 1/3 pi r squared, because it was 1/3 of the base area, and the base area was pi r squared.
What?
So the cone, right, yesterday was 1/3 pi r squared, because the base, or I think, because it was, but then times height, right?
Yeah, but the height wasn't even.
No, it's
Well, what if now I'm telling you the height is the same as the diameter? So if the height is the same as the diameter
Okay.
of the circle, height is equal to 2 times radius then, right? So this is the same as this, is the same as, like, the heights are the same no matter which way I turn it.
Is anything times pi
An irrational number.
what's the diameter? Area of the circle?
I don't want to just say yes, but I believe yes.
Well, I bet if there's like set number,
talking to you over here.
like I bet if 3.
Something's, oh, it's the radio. Someone's talking to you. Did they say me? I think we're both teaching. He could come. I mean, I could see him right now. I'm just trying to teach kids about volume.
Just?
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Oh.
My bad. My bad. Guys, I do not think this is a just thing. Sure, you send him towards the camera and one of us can catch him. Terry should have the radio, but it might be all the way turned down.
Probably. The problem. What's the probability?
It's recorded on his video.
You don't have to worry about volume. I subscribe to Mr. Hudson. I subscribe to Mr. Hudson.
You weren't already?
As I say, I don't think you have absolute people.
What?
He was training me so loud.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
To catch your mistakes, too.
Then it gets bad. Look at me as a bad example of, like, if you set a rule and they want to follow it, they're going to call you every chance they get. Sweet. But that is easier than volume.
Quiet. So we
let's back up. Let's back up.
You back up.
All right, so if the cylinder has the same height as the sphere, and the sphere is oh come on, it keeps breaking open. All right, on my list of things I should buy is a new set of 3D shapes because now I've used them too much. So we are gonna say the volume. Hold up, let's do cylinder first. So the volume. If we say the height is equal to diameter, and diameter is this distance,
Well, how do we figure out that distance?
like if it's multiplets.
No, it's not. The diameter is larger than the size.
So the volume is big B times H. Now wait, what is diameter actually?
It's 2 radius.
2 radii.
To the office. Pencil to the office.
So 2 radii really, if the height is the diameter, then that's 2 radii. The base is a circle, so it's
What's radii?
plural of radius. Yeah, like octopus, octopi. I'm trying to think of another example, but I don't have one.
I was never gonna use that.
It's
That's octopuses.
So pi times radius squared. So the volume of the cylinder is 2 pi radius cubed.
No. Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna say no, you better be able to tell me why.
Because I said so.
So if we're saying that this circle
Wait, what about the 2?
perfectly also would be this circle, that's how this diameter ends up being the same as the height.
How? I have one question.
Then the two came from here.
But then no, where did it go down there?
Here?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Hey, my small group, go with Mrs. Hunter if you could, because I was gonna forget, and I told her she needed to remind me. Well, don't worry, unless somehow they make the breakthrough, I don't plan on giving this to you today. I plan on making you just hungry for it. Wait, you just want me to use a measure? Okay. fine.
Wait, volume. Can I fiddle around with this stuff with the shape?
This is what me and Connor were
Well, I just got told to use a measuring cup.
I have an idea though.
So, my small group, Aiden, Anna, and Colin, if you would, please. You guys are in the middle of the project.
Get out.
Not get out, but like go do the extra stuff.
Get out.
Awesome.
Get out.
Yes.
This is might need to pack us. Me and Connor, so we definitely know that volume sphere does not equal half the volume of cylinder.
Definitely not half, right? Like we can see that. So hold on. I was doing what if you're gonna ask me to do something, Patrick asked me to measure first, so I'm gonna do that.
Well, I'm just like saying how so basically Connor's thing isn't true. You're saying how so? Yeah.
What do you mean Connor's thing isn't true? See if I
As in like we already knew that wasn't true because you said so like so we said that
okay,
I want
fine.
to say something.
You guys yelled at me to measure this out. The cylinder looks like it's 800.
That's the
800 milliliters.
Okay, so if you're gonna yell at me to use our tools and measure, who measures?
Me.
All right, so then, guys, you're doing exactly what you should in the investigative process. Of like, well, if we have a way to measure it, why should we just speculate? So it really, this is gonna be easier to pour. Because then I just want to fill the sphere and then into here. Would we just subtract?
Oh, I keep saying it.
No, sorry. Would we subtract or would we? I don't know. All right. So sphere, it wants to leak, but all right, sphere.
Is that air conditioning? Yeah, you gotta go. I know. I know that's a bad word, but. They take over.
Around 500.
Around. If you're gonna make me measure, can we really just say around?
So 400 is air.
Wait, let the water settle.
So you guys said this was 800.
Millimeters.
475. That was a
And then the sphere, what we don't know the formula for,
It's 475.
475. So the difference is 320 milliliters.
No, 325 millimeters.
sorry, what is it? What are we deciding it is?
475.
475. I guess we could go get like a graduated cylinder if we really wanted to accurately measure.
I have some at home.
I don't think that helps us right now.
No,
I'm sorry, I just don't think it helps.
Right home.
I have a whole box.
Don't break that any more than it's broken. You have to like hold it together or else it won't.
See,
So
I have
if
a
you go
whole
to fill it,
box.
you have to like put pressure down so that it won't leak out the crack. It's easier to pour out that way. We can always do it again, but we might just go grab a graduated cylinder. Hey, do you want to go grab one from Miss Howard?
Yes,
Go borrow a graduated cylinder. Make sure it's at least 500 milliliters.
yes, sir.
How do you find the area of a circle again?
Pi r squared. Are you going to reveal your idea before you do it, or is your idea to dump the water on the floor? Please don't dump all that water on the floor.
I think I figured it out right now.
So drain this into here, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. This won't.
We already did that.
Oh.
Now you did it too well, and now it won't. This needs to float, is effectively what it needs to
Here,
do.
use a pencil.
Wait, aha! Oh,
Big. Oh.
okay.
Just you.
Guys, this is surgery.
And that's the amount.
We already did this!
Now pour it into that. Pour it into that. You broke it.
Pour it into this again.
Yeah,
double check.
yeah. That's real. Oh, 500.
I think it's a tiny bit
No, it's
under. You should let go of the table
Wait,
so it doesn't shake it.
This amount.
That's what they just told me. Like,
Can I keep one
that's,
that's
I didn't like.
It's 2 cups, guys.
Is that Bob?
Yeah. Look over there.
Yeah.
So if I tell you that this is for sure going to involve pi times radius cubed, is there a way that we could try to figure out what the coefficient here is going to be? Because we know it's going to be less than 2.
Is it big B? We divide that. Is it big B?
Well, it's going to be less than 2. What do you mean divide that by that?
Wait, if you take a semicircle and then you cube it, then
Semicircle?
does that mean that it makes a semi-sphere?
You are going to dump this.
I am not. Why are we trusting Jake to do this?
What are we doing?
Miss Hudson, if you cube the area of a circle, does it become a sphere?
No. I'd have to look at what you're saying, but I think my initial gut says I don't think so. Okay. What's your plan now?
I just want to fill it up.
Okay, I have it. For that.
Hold on. Let's wait for the graduated
Because
cylinder.
I'm
to get
so
an
surprised that
accurate,
you
because she
fell.
should be bad.
I'm so surprised you actually fell.
Okay, so for that and that.
Well, I'm waiting for Brenda.
I told you I was
Okay.
She didn't have any 500, but we have 2 250 and an extra 100.
Alright.
I hate
What?
math.
No, the fact that she doesn't have a 500, I can't believe the science teacher doesn't have a 500.
I have a 500.
Well, maybe you should flex on Miss Howard and say, look.
Are you a science teacher? No, I needed one cylinder thing for a science project during online learning, and now it's
Well, I guess Anna's not in
You
there.
literally just spoke to me.
Alright, so tell me when I reach, you said it was 2 200s? 2 250, so we shouldn't need both of these. Because I'm trying to be accurate.
Also, it's free slippery. We got guys, you're on.
Stop. Oh, you want to
Well, then pour a tiny bit into chill, pour a tiny bit into the next one. This is how you do it.
Brenda, too much.
Stop it!
Ah! Brenda, way too much.
Ah!
What over so much?
Ah! rest of what was in the sphere. This is what was in the sphere. Okay, so set it down. So we can read the meniscus. So this is 250. You gotta do 250 plus whatever that is. Okay, just quit shaking the
Stop. Go away, Jake.
Everyone sit down. If we're not reading the
No, go away, Jake.
I'll read it.
Jake, not funny.
No, but he actually went there.
Or no, 225.
This goes to 95 plus 2.
475. You were right.
Alright, so we were, even though this was approximate, it came out the same.
Correct. I have an idea. I have an idea. So pour it into the
I have
circle.
an idea.
I can read it.
We're out of time.
No!
I'm very, very sorry to disappoint.
You enjoy torturing us!
I know, and you're making you hungry for more.
That's what you said
You
yesterday.
are
talked about
evil!
The bacon.
It's not my fault we ran out of time.
Yes, it is.
Maybe if you guys would work faster.
Oh!
She
has it. The absolute. I'm not so angry. I can't.
Can you odd?
I can't even.
Well, can you odd?
Can you not make those jokes?
Can you?
Yeah!
Can you prime?
Demonstration! Yeah, I
Because
can!
if you can't odd after that, we should see if you can still prime.
I can, Mr. Hudson! I can on!
Mr. Hudson,
Yes.
look,
Do you think you derived it?
I was onto something.
I
Really
did.
There's a lot of math on
So
it.
I did, so
Hey, what I'll tell, 2 seconds. What I'll tell the people that are still in here, that question mark is a fraction, and it's a nice fraction.
I just did. So I realized that these people here were going to be this one person that would make up exactly half the sphere.
Is your pool above ground? Because if it's in here, I think I only see 1 and 2.
No, so see this is the top here. So it's basically a prism plus a
Prism
semi.
or cylinder? Cylinder,
Cylinder.
right? So cylinder plus a half sphere. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we know how to find the volume of the sphere.
Exactly.
I was
That's
bored,
the only
and I
thing.
found like
If I knew how to find the volume
Well,
of the sphere,
that's important if we're gonna put an edge around the pool.
So did you watch Jeopardy last night?
I didn't watch anything last night. You were texting me and I said I don't have time. I'm eating dinner at 8 p.m. and just
Oh,
Like,
well,
I had no
there was a
time.
bassoonist on Jeopardy,
nice.
and also there was a category on Schubert.
On really, so you
Yeah.
must have loved that episode.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Hudson.
Yeah.
I got sidetracked and I figured out the one main thing. Yeah, the Middle Earth and the people in the bracket. Yeah. So, I mean, it's 1.8
You
people.
chose.
No. If you divide it by 33 times, it's 1.8.
So I guess then you would
It's like
be
three
in
of
the
us in here.
final.
Yeah.
Or you'd
But
be in
the
the
thing is
championship.
that you're winning. Like, I mean, that people are dying.
Well, not
but
necessarily.
people are
Like,
also-
what if you just played
like-
chess against them or something?
Then you're
Harry
really.
Potter chess,
then
everyone dies.
literally never gonna win.
This is not Thanos. Well, I mean, really, I think what this comes
No,
down to
because
is if
people are
Thanos
gonna-
starts snapping his fingers, how many snaps would it take? What?
It would go infinite.
But no, but if Thanos, it will never be deleted. And if every time he snaps, that's half the population. That's the other way we could look at this question.
Yeah, and that would be 1.8 people.
So then Thanos needs to snap one more time and get rid of that 0.8 of a person, although I don't know how you have 0.8 of a piece of Actually, I think 1.8 has to round down. because
That
you
would
can't
be
have-
0.9, so you won't even have
Well, you
one
can't have
person.
0.8 of a
You'll
person.
have like a corpse.
You guys have to go to. I have to get ready for my next class. You gotta leave.
I just need to check mine.
No, you are very close. Although our numbers up there are just from measurement, and we don't know that those are exact.
Yes, we do. We measured.
But we just measure. We're humans, though.
Well, actually, yes, it is
We're
the number.
human.
Check our
There's a
measures.
human error.
No,
You're a
Is it
I am.
Is 1/4?
Get out of here. Go. Get out of here.